In this episode, I'm going to be talking about how to become a virtual assistant. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for today's episode of Interview Connections TV. In last week's episode, I gave some tips on hiring a virtual assistant because I've got this big team of virtual assistants and it's a new year and a lot of people are talking about their business goals and wanting to really expand their team and leverage and scale their business, and hiring virtual assistants is a huge part of doing that, especially for online business owners such as myself and a lot of you watching. A great viewer of the show actually just tweeted me about 5 minutes ago and said, "Hey Jessica, I'm watching this episode now. Can you do a video on how to become a virtual assistant? I'm thinking about doing that sometime in 2015. So of course I can do a video on how to become a virtual assistant. That is what I have experience doing. So there's obviously so much to say because how to become a virtual assistant, I'm essentially talking about how to start a business, and there's a lot that goes into starting a business, but I want to give you three simple tips that I think contributed to my success in growing a successful VA business. Number one, get a coach or a mentor. Most importantly, if you are not a business expert, if you have never been a business owner, you need to be with someone who can show you the right path. A coach or a mentor, someone that you pay, honestly, is probably the best way because that means you're putting skin in the game. Now, if you know my story, you know that I started out working for my dad. I was one of his virtual assistants. I got free coaching for a while, and slow and steady as she goes for the first 6 months or so. At the beginning of 2014, I started paying for that coaching. I started paying to be in my dad's mastermind program. And as soon as I had skin in the game, as soon as I was putting out money that I didn't have coming in, I worked my butt off harder than I had worked before. And my business grew way faster. So get a coach, get a mentor, get somebody who can show you what to do to start a business. Because that's really what you're doing as a virtual assistant. You are starting a business. My second tip is to offer a service that you can become an expert in, something that you can be the go-to resource for. So when I first started my virtual assistant business, the main thing that I was doing was Pinterest marketing. And what I did was I took a whole course in Pinterest marketing. You know, I didn't go into business being a Pinterest expert, but I became one because I wanted to make money doing it. So I took a whole course, watched tons of the modules and the videos, took notes. I just learned everything there was to know about how to successfully market a business on Pinterest. So that way when I was talking to potential clients and they were asking me, I'm thinking about getting into Pinterest, but I don't really know what to do, I could show them all my expertise. They felt more comfortable hiring me to do it. So that is what I would say. Become an expert in whatever you're going to do. Now my main business is Interview Connections, where I'm booking podcasters with great guests. I'm booking guests with podcasters for interviews. And I am doing these videos, I'm doing podcasts, I'm blogging, and I'm really working to build my profile as being a go-to resource, being an expert around podcast interviews. So become an expert in the service and more people will want to work with you. And then lastly, most importantly, build relationships, because people hire virtual assistants that they know, like, and trust, and that come from referrals. I mean, as a business owner, when you hire virtual assistants, I mean, you're paying someone to work in your business or interact with your clients and get things done for you, maybe get your usernames and passwords and do your social media. It takes a lot of trust to have someone on your team in that capacity. So if you want to be a virtual assistant, focus as much as possible on building relationships within your industry, within the industry in which you want to become a virtual assistant in. Go to conferences, join Facebook groups, interact with people, get on podcasts, start sharing your story. Do whatever you can to build relationships and just make it known that you are looking for work, that you're offering services. You'll notice that none of my tips had to do with building a website and starting a Facebook page and doing social media and all that stuff. Folks, I didn't have a website for the first couple months of my business. I did start my entrepreneursupportservices.com blog and started blogging a little bit, but I don't think anyone was visiting my website for a long time. my clients came from referrals. They came from relationships that I had and that I was building. Those are my tips for you. There's so much more to say, but I cannot fit it all in this video. Check out my podcast for more tips. I have a great episode. Actually, my most popular episode is with Lindsay Phillips, who is a virtual assistant, and she gives some more tips on finding virtual assistants, hiring them, becoming a VA. So go to rtspodcast.com/Lindsay for that episode. Check out my website, interviewconnections.com, if you want to work with us. And my blog is at jessicarhodes.biz is the short link to get there. So thanks so much. Have a wonderful, productive week. Do lots of interviews, and I'll talk to you next Tuesday.